Welcome to aminacademy.com. In astronomy, let us discuss about the sky above. Probably our sense suggests to us that Earth is the center of the universe, the hub around which the heavens turn. This geocentric view was what almost everyone believed until the European Renaissances. After all, it is simple, logical, and seemingly self-evident. Furthermore, the geocentric perspective reinforced those philosophical and religious systems that taught the unique role of human beings as the central focus of the cosmos. However, the geocentric view happens to be wrong. One of the great themes of our intellectual history is the overthrow the geocentric perspectives. Let us therefore take a look at the steps by which we re-evaluated the place of our world in the cosmic order. The central sphere is an imaginary sphere where all the objects in the heavens are projected. Although it is based on a geocentric Earth-centered system, the celestial sphere is useful for pinpointing objects in space as well as defining Earth-based positions relative to the sky. The celestial sphere. What is celestial sphere? The top of that dome point directly above your head is called the zenith. And where the dome meets Earth is called the horizon. These are horizon, these are zenith. Circles on the celestial spheres. If you go camping trip or live far from the city lights, that is in normal very dark villages, your view of the sky on a clear night is pretty much identical. So that's seen by people all over the world before the invention of the telescope. Gazing up, you get the impression that the sky is great halo dome with you at the center. Next, we'll talk about celestial poles and celestial equator. Look at here. The help orient as in the turning key. Astronomers use a system that extends Earth's axis point into the sky. Imagine a line going through the Earth connecting the north and south poles. This is an Earth's axis and Earth rotates about this line. If we extend this imaginary line outward from Earth, the point where this line intersects the celestial sphere are called North Celestial Pole and the South Celestial Pole. As Earth rotates about its axis, the sky appears to turn in the opposite direction around those celestial poles. We also throw Earth's equator onto the sky and call this is the celestial equator. The rotating skylab created by the University of Nebraska-Lincoln provides an interactive demonstration that introduces the horizon coordinate system. The apparent rotates of the sky and allows for exploration of the relationship between the horizon and celestial equatorial coordinate system. Particular time in Earth's history, there happens to be a star very close to the North Celestial Pole. It is called Polaris, the pole star, and has the direct distinction of being the star that moves the least amount as the northern sky turns each day. Astronomers measure how far the objects appear in the sky by using angles. By definition, there are 360 degrees. There are 360 degrees in a circle, so a circle stretching completely around the celestial sphere contains 360 degrees. The half sphere as dome of the sky then contains 180 degrees from horizon to opposite horizon. This, if two stars, suppose for 18 degrees apart, their separation spans about 1/10 of the dome of the sky. To give you a sense of how big a degree is, the full moon is only half degree across. This is about the width of your smallest finger seen in arm length. Rising and setting of the sun. Most people know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. However, most people don't realize that is a generalization. Actually, the sun only rises due east and sets due west on 2 days of the year. That is spring and fall equinoxes. We describe a movement of stars in the night sky, but what about during the daytime? The stars continue to circle during the day, but the brilliance of the sun makes them difficult to see because brightness of the sun. It is difficult to see other stars easily in daytime. The moon can often seen in the daylight, however. On any given day, we can think of the sun as being located at some position on the hypothetical celestial sphere. When the sun rises, that is, when the rotation of Earth carries the sun above the horizon, sunlight is scattered by the molecules of our atmosphere, filling our sky with light and hiding the stars above the horizon. For thousands of years, astronomers have been aware of the sun does more than just rise and set. It changes the position gradually on the celestial sphere, moving each day about 1 degree to the east relative to the star. Very reasonably, the ancient thought this meant the sun was slowly moving around the earth, taking a period of time we call 1 year to make a full circle. Today, of course, we know it is the earth that is going around the sun. But the effect is the same. The sun's position in our sky changes day to day. We have a similar experience when we walk around a campfire at night. We see that flames appear in front of each person seated about the fire in turn. The path of the sun appears to take around the celestial sphere each year is called the ecliptic. Because of its motion of the ecliptic, the sun rises about 4 minutes later each day with respect to the stars. Each must make just a bit more than one complete rotation with respect to the stars to bring the sun up again. As the months go by and we look at the sun from the different places in our orbit, we see it's projected against different places in our orbit and thus against different stars in the background. In practice, we must deduce which star lie behind and beyond the sun by observing the stars visible in the opposite direction at night. After a year, when Earth has completed one trip around the sun will appear to have completed one circuit of the sky along the ecliptic. Next one, we talk about constellation. Here, constellation on the ecliptic dates when sun crosses it. These are different constellations in table form. The ecliptic does not lie along the celestial equator but is inclined to it at an angle of 23.5 degrees. In other words, the sun's annual path of the sky is not linked with Earth's equator. This is because our planet's axis of rotation is tilted by about 23.5 degrees from a vertical line sticking out of the plane of the ecliptic. Being tilted from straight up, it is not at all unusual among celestial bodies. Uranus and Pluto are actually tilted so much that they orbit the sun on their side. The inclination of the ecliptic is the reason the sun moves north and south in the sky as the season changes. In Earth, Moon and Sky, we discussed the progression of the season in one more detail. Fixed and wandering stars we'll talk about. The sun is not the only object that moves along the fixed stars. The moon and each of the planets that are visible to the unaided eye, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn and Uranus, although just barely, also changes their position slowly from day to day. During the single day, the moon and planets all rise and set on the earth turns just as the sun and stars do. But like the sun, they have independent motion among the stars superimposed on the daily rotation of the celestial sphere. Noticing this motion, the Greeks of 2000 years ago distinguished between what they called fixed stars, those that maintains fixed pattern among themselves through many generations, and wandering stars or planets. The word planet in fact means wanderer in ancient Greek. Today we do not regard the sun and moon as planets, but ancients applied the term to all 7 of the moving objects in the sky. Much of ancient astronomy was devoted to observing and predicting the motions of these celestial wanderers. They even dedicated a unit of time, the week, to the 7 objects that move on their own. That's why there are 7 days in a week. The moon, being Earth's nearest celestial neighbors, has the fastest apparent motion. It completes a trip around the sky in about 1 month. It's called moon and month. To do this, the moon moves about 12 degrees to or 24 times its own apparent width on the sky each day. Now we talk about constellation, modern way. Constellation is a group of stars that appears from a pattern or picture like Orion, the Great Hunter, Leo, the Lion, or Taurus, the Bull. Constellations are easily recognizable patterns that help people orient themselves using the night sky. There are 88 official constellations on there. The direct evidence of our sense supports geocentric perspective with the celestial sphere pivoting on the celestial poles and rotating about a stationary Earth. The backdrop for the motion of the wanderers in the sky is the canopy of stars. If there were no clouds in the sky and we were a flat plane with nothing to obstruct our view, we could see about 3000 stars with the unaided eye. To find their way around such a multitude, the ancient found grouping of stars that made some familiar geometric pattern or rarely resembled something they knew. Each civilization found its own pattern in the star, much like a modern theory. You may be familiar with some of the old star patterns we still use today, such as Big Dipper, Little Dipper, and Orion the Hunter, and his distinctive belt of three stars. Now we discussed about sky above, and we come to some glossary terms. Celestial equator, the great circle on the celestial sphere 90 degrees from the celestial poles, where the celestial spheres intersect the plane of the Earth's equator, that is called the celestial equator. Celestial poles, points about which the celestial spheres appears to rotate, intersects of the celestial sphere with Earth's polar axis is called a celestial pole. Celestial sphere, the apparent sphere of the sky, a sphere of large radius centered on the observer. Direction of objects in the sky can be denoted by their position on the celestial sphere. Circumpolar zone, those portions of the celestial sphere near the celestial poles that are either always above or always below the horizon is called a circumpolar zone. Ecliptic, the apparent annual path of the sun on the celestial sphere is called ecliptic. Geocentric, that is centered on Earth. Horizon, that is horizon in astronomical, a great circle on the celestial sphere 90 degrees from the zenith. More popularly, the circles around us where the dome of the sky meets Earth. It's called horizon. Planet. Today, any of the larger objects revolving about the sun or any similar objects that are orbits other stars in ancient stars is called a planet. In ancient times, any object that moved regularly among the fixed stars. Year, the period of revolution of Earth around the sun. Zenith, the point on the celestial sphere opposite the direction of the gravity point directly above the observer is called a zenith. Zodiac, a belt around the sky about 18 degrees wide centered on the ecliptic. This is called a zodiac. So far we discussed about some truth about the sky, and further videos we will talk about more. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.